Hi, so this is week one. So, one modern challenge facing the workplace I noted would be the use of AI. AI is being used more frequently in more organizations, and it's expected that with the use of AI, there will be more productivity, better relations with customers, and improved remote working operations. But there's also still a lot of challenges that can arise. Mark Cuban actually did an interview with Bloomberg where he expressed his concerns and said how too many things are being automated, which can decrease the amount of humans that are actually needed. There can also be a learning curve, which can leave out certain employees if they're not picking up these new technologies as fast as their peers. I believe an AO psychologist could help by assisting with training and development programs. Make sure all the employees are given a chance to learn the new technology, as well as work on training programs that are focused towards their skill gaps. Have assessments and see where they're lacking instead of just one blanket, here's how you do it, go do the job. Give them an opportunity to actually get there. Excuse me. And I would say that Walter Dill Scott has made a very big contribution to the early history of IOPsych. One thing inspiring about him is just his overall drive. When he found himself in a role that he knew would not suit him, he took the necessary steps to be successful, and he was successfully studied under Want and earned his PhD. And then where many people before him turned down the opportunity to apply psychology into advertising, Scott decided to go ahead with it and implement his own ideas into the subject. He also helped develop ways of training employees and how their performance is being evaluated. He also was very eager to share his findings and knowledge to help others learn from him, as well as him constantly improving himself and learning other things. So, I'm currently in the process of searching for a new job, and I've had many instances where I've felt unsatisfied with my job, and it's not what I'm doing. I work as a medical assistant. I like the patients. I like the processes of what I do. It's kind of just how my office and management handle things. My office is not that big, and it seems like there's always constantly a lot of gossip going around. If you go tell someone something within that day or the next day, everyone kind of knows it, which became more of a problem when it comes to management. If you feel like you want to report something, they always say the door's always open, you can, but then they go and tell other people what you report, which I feel like is so inappropriate and unfair. And we have two office supervisors who honestly really do most of the gossiping and sharing. It's one thing if you're talking to another coworker and then word gets around what you say. But I think when you're in a leadership position like that, you shouldn't be, if someone's coming to you with concern about a coworker, it getting back to the coworker of being like, hey, this person said this about you, this person's mad at you. That's just an unprofessional way, and that's not helping solve any problems, and in the end it's just causing more. And last month we did our quarter reviews, and in it was just a lot about other people. In my review, they were telling things that I was doing good, that I could work on, but then it turned into what my coworker wasn't doing good and how my other coworker wasn't training well. And it was a lot about them, and then asking if I'm happy with my salary, which I expressed I'm grateful for the raise opportunity that's coming from my review, but how knowing how people got hired back and what their requirements were, I still feel like I'm lacking that. I never mentioned any prices, any what people were getting, but I kind of implied it. And then was immediately told, well, you can't tell people what your raise is, you can't tell people your salary, don't do that, don't let us find out that you're talking about the money you're making. I'm like, I don't tell people what I make. But a little hostile, okay. And my coworkers and I, after their reviews as well, we did kind of compare and be like, oh, did they say you weren't doing this good or you were? And it turns out in all of their reviews, they were talking about us as well, of how my one coworker there was a lot to be said about me in the review, and they were positive things, but they weren't telling me that. And then they were going to him complaining about another worker and all the things she's done to mess up and why she's not getting a raise. And that to me is just that's none of my business. I see the work my coworkers are doing. I don't need management. I don't need to know their review of them and how no one was getting a raise and only 2 people were, and then telling me it was me and someone else. That's not my business. I feel like that puts us in a very uncomfortable spot where we're kind of pitted up against each other, and like I don't need to know how management views you. I feel like that's very, like I said, unprofessional, uncalled for. And I think in my office personally, the improvement needs to be better leadership, more professionalism, and knowing that you are the leader. You're not you're not supposed to be gossiping with us about things that are very work related and concerns. And whether that improvement comes from training and development and training the management and doing programs of showing what should be upholded, or honestly just reshaping the company, having someone come in and evaluate and see what's not working and what can be fixed, I feel like would be the better option. But that was my video this week. Thank you for listening.